A long season has come and gone in the blink of an eye, and it brings us here. Round 16, the final race of the 2024 GPVWC Superlights season. And where else would we be? It's the last race of GPVWC. Of course, we are here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. It's Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. And of course, it's raining as well. Hello and welcome for the final time this year to GPVWC Superlights. And it is a pleasure to have you along for the ride. You join myself, Ross McIntyre, with Fabian Jungbluth, of course, on the cameras as he has been all year long. And alongside me, it is Super League race winner, Carlos Martin. And Carlos, well, it's been an incredible season, but we're here at the final round. The rain is falling. It is sure to be a very, very exciting one.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be spicy today. It's going to happen a lot of action today on track. And last year, let's remember, it was wet as well in Superlights, and there was a lot of chaos in the opening laps. There were some drivers that they were able to make the difference in terms of pace, and Haigo Pum last year, he definitely made it. Maybe we can expect someone similar pace like him last year. It looks like Fidok is really strong today again. It is no surprise anymore to anyone who is following Superlights this season. And we can expect a very hectic and very action-prone race today.
We can indeed. You join us just in time for our qualifying session. Of course, as it has been for some years now, a private qualifying session here in Sao Paulo. So the drivers out on track just on their own. It's all about what you can do with the car. And of course, with the rain falling down, the great equalizer, as we call it in the racing world. There have, of course, been upgrades to the cars, late upgrades in the season. So maybe some people feeling a little bit quicker than they should be. Vale Esports, their car has been the fastest over the last few rounds. Will they still hold that marker? It's all depending, again, in the rain. A lot more based on driver skill than car ability around the circuit. As Davide Zanini, of course, purple for Sector 1. That's how it works in private qualifying. And our Factor 2, our beloved esteemed simulator of choice on the opening laps. Everybody sets a purple first sector.
It's actually the fastest, though.
It is actually the fastest. He is actually fastest, to be fair, but it's going to be a purple sector no matter who we're looking at on these early laps. And it's fastest as well, despite dipping a wheel into the grass, coming down into this Cida de Largo. So pretty impressive stuff there from the TTF racing driver, the Italian, looking to make an impact on the final outing this season. Bit of a squirrel on as he exits out of Bico de Pato into Magula, and then of course the huge corner down at Yunsao, and then bolting back up the hill through the big, well, it's not really quite a corner in a modern Formula car, but turns 14, turn 15, it's just flat out here. Even in the rain, of course, you'd have the DRS wide open by this point in the drive. We're waiting to see what the time's going to be as Zanini crosses the line. It will be a 1:21.420. It's about 0.3 off of Jan Dragoon at the moment, who slots into provisional pole early doors in this session. The Czech driver clearly feeling confident in the wet. Vincent Gutt, he's on the medium tyres for Spark Racing, or the intermediate, should I say, not the mediums, and decides to abandon that lap, decides it wasn't worth it. Maybe the wets are the way to go at the moment. Here's Jan Sakura in the other TTF car. Zanini in P3 as it stands. Can Sakura go any quicker? Has he crossed the line? No, he can't, unfortunately. It's only P9 for the time being. Bit of a shake-up in terms of drivers that we got with us today. The big man that is missing, of course, apart from your champion in 2024, Alex Laho. Again, he's sitting out the last two rounds. Won the championship. He's feeling a bit tired, bit burnt out, so he's watching along at home in France. Doesn't feel the need to race, which is fair enough. But, of course, the big story, amongst a whole load of commotion since the last round, Alessandro Maggio has been banned from competing in this round. He reached his penalty point limit on his GPVWC license. 10 penalty points accrued across the season, as Robin Mueling, who's sitting in for Alex Laho this weekend, gets it a little bit wrong coming onto the main straight. So, yeah, no Magic Man this weekend. Again, banned by the organisers. Any Italians who have any complaints about that, send it on the postcard to GPVWC. So, yeah, few drivers missing this weekend. Of course, that's the big one in Alessandro Maggio. But it should still be a very exciting race, Carlos. I mean, even with a few different changes up and down the grid, it's still looking, as always in Superlights, like a very competitive grid.
Yeah, it is very competitive, and we can see by the lap times and by the top speeds, there is a lot of drivers that have opted for very, very, very high wings here. We can see Horlock, very high wings, Zanini, very high wings, Rogoza, very high wings. Just for a reference, Sandeep Singh is 15 km/h faster in the straights than Rogoza. It is a completely just opposite setups that they build for this track. Probably Sandeep is still racing on a very dry, aggressive setup, whereas other drivers, other teams have actually prepared for this. And it's very interesting because Vincent Gatt, the first attempt he did it on the intermediates. He now switched to the wets, and there is drivers that are now switching to the intermediate, like Jan Dragun, who is sitting in P1 right now. He just switched to the intermediates, same as Sandeep Singh. And there is a lot of disparity. There is a lot of mixed opinions on which is the best tire right now. There is a lot of time in qualifying right now to actually check what is the best option. It is true. Oh wait, Fidok is out. Fidok car is completely broken right now. We're waiting for a picture right now, but he's probably out of the session right now. I just can see him. Yeah, dead engine right now. Wow, that's one of the favorites, if not the favorite, out of contention. Now, of course, if he presses escape and goes back to the track, as we see Vincent Gatt just going for a very, very, very fast lap, P3 he goes right now. If Fidok decides to press escape and go out again, he will have a back of the grid penalty for the upcoming race next season. So he probably will need to think about it. Oh, as we saw Lok Munier improving Sector 1 right now by just 1/10. He goes purple right now, improving Jan Dragun's Sector 1. Everyone is improving. The rain is slightly decreasing now, and that's why some drivers are opting for these intermediate tires right now. We will see what is the best answer for it in a few minutes. When you have this kind of weather, you actually need to be ready to abort on a lap if it gets very dry, to have an extra attempt in the most suitable tire. And for sure you want to keep yourself on track, maybe not going for just one lap attempts, maybe to go for more than one lap attempt. As we see, Loic is struggling a lot to put the power down. In these conditions, it's so important to have softer springs, to have higher downforce configurations, and he's struggling to put the power down, and he will close the lap in P4 right now. He is P4, Horlock and Zanini in the meanwhile also improving times, pushing Vincent Gatt to P5 right now. We can see Sandeep Singh also finishing the lap on intermediate right now. He also improves the lap, not as much as he probably expected. He is 21.9. Probably the track will improve further. As we see Dominic Korosharin just pushing for P6 right now. It is clearly the track getting drier right now. We see Loles P2 right now. Everything is gonna change. None of the lap times that you have right now. Ooh, as we see Brody actually sliding heavily into turn 1, maybe trying to go for a second attempt, but he will not have the opportunity now. So we see Pishan right now heading into turn 1 and 2. We can see how bouncy it is. This is one of the tracks that you need a lot of setting in the suspension parameters. As we see, he spins turn 3, one of the very critical turns. We saw a lot of spins there in F1, Ross, and this is no different.
It's certainly not a tricky circuit, whether in real life or in the simulator, is Sao Paulo, and especially when the rain is falling. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people setting purple sectors and immediately following it up with not much to offer in the middle sector. That's what Loic Mournier's just done in the red Vencar. He's diving into the pits of purple sector 1, but abandons that lap. But a strong first lap there from Brody Lawless into P2. His first race in Superlights this season, I believe. And currently sitting in P2 on the grid. Was that again seeing the same thing from Dominic Koroshavin, massively up in sector number 1. Sector number 2, it's very much yellow, and he does not improve on that lap. Joseph Herlock, though, what a lap that was to stick him. Oh, Remco de Joux, that's a little bit sideways, does well to keep it out of the barriers. It was green in sector 1 as well. Well held by the Fusion Racing driver. Maxime Bulio purple in Sector 1. Sector 1 getting much, much quicker across the course of the last couple minutes, it would seem. 5 minutes and 30 left on the clock in this qualifying session. Let's ride on board with the Canadian as they make their way through the middle sector. A little bit tentative on the throttle. Maxime, a driver that really in the wet you'd expect to be quite strong. Just the driving style from Bulio, it's very, very smooth. And you'd expect that around here, Sao Paulo, in the wet, that should be a winning combination. It's green in the middle as well. Avoids the curb on the outside of Yun Sao. That's exactly what you want to do in the conditions like this. You can kick up a lot of wheel spin. Now it's just about trying not to scrub off any speed. Down to the front stretch. Across the start-finish line goes Bulio, and it's going to be P5. What a lap that is from Maxime Bulio. Lovely, lovely stuff there. We did see Maxime, of course, crossing the pit entry line there on the way round the final quarter. You see from Mathieu's Micah as well, who's standing in for Alessandro Maggio, who goes into P2 with a monster lap. Currently, the two Valet Esports drivers separated by 500ths of a second. They're 3/10ths up on everybody else at the moment. A ridiculous pace from the Italian squad. As I was saying, though, that's part of the big debate across the last couple of weeks of GPVWC Superlights. Of course, if you were watching along in America, the Circuit of the Americas a few weeks ago, well, we saw David Fidok take a fantastic victory. A few days later, that victory was taken away from him. That was the big news story. There was a few penalties handed out for drivers illegally crossing the pit entry line on their way into the pit lane. However, the two drivers that got done for that being David Fidok and Sandeep Singh, both had their penalties rescinded. So David Fidok went from winning that race to getting, I think it was P3 he was with the penalty added on. It's not actually updated yet on the GPVWC website because the rescission only came in, I believe it was yesterday evening. But from what I'm aware, he has been re-awarded that race win 2 weeks ago. As look at Michael on 2 purple sectors. Let's see this as he crosses the line. Mathieu's Micah stepping in for the Magic Man, Alessandro Maggio, and goes quickest by 0.2 of a second. That is a ridiculous lap. The Valet Esports car feeling right at home in the wet weather here at Interlagos. We may be between the lakes, we are under the grey skies, the rain hammering down, but Micah feeling right at home as Micah quickest in Sector 3 goes into P5. As I was saying though, David Fidok in the space of 2 weeks has been from having a win to having it taken away from him. Then he's had it re-awarded to him. Again, out of this qualifying session, unfortunately, is Fidok. Currently down in P16. Looks like he didn't make it back to the pit lane, so he's got a big ask ahead of him to try and continue his form as Jan Sikora quickest in sector number 1. 2 minutes and 30 left on the clock. It's at that awkward phase, Carlos, where the track, it's you've just got to take a gamble, really. We saw a few moments ago where some drivers were trying on the intermediates and they were quicker in some corners, slower in the others. Again, Interlagos, it's difficult on the tyres due to the undulation of the circuit. You get a lot of water pooling down at the bottom half of the circuit. Is Koroshavin now quickest in the first sector? This could be a qualifying session essentially based on who is out on track at the right time.
Yeah, definitely. This is the key of this qualifying, and the good thing of not being a straight circuit where if anyone crashes, you will not get the debris in the middle of the racetrack, so you can actually try to gamble it to exit very late in the pit lane and go for a lap very late. I'm not entirely sure if you are able to do 2 laps in a row, but it's been the case in other occasions, as we see Dominic Koroshavin in P2 right now. But if Dominic cannot do 2 laps in a row, that's basically his last attempt. And as we see Renko Desu going for P1 right now with a 20.23, and you will see like Koroshavin is half a second off Renko, and he will keep dropping just because of it. So we see Robin Möhling with the intermediate tire, he goes P3 right now, and this is going to be the trend. If you cannot do like laps in a row, this is the best position you will actually have, because there will be drivers who start the lap within 10 seconds to go, and their track will be probably just better. As we see on Alex Lehoux at Spa, he did the same. He just waited for the very last moment, and at some point Maxime was on pole, and he at the end was more than 2 seconds off the pole just by doing the lap 2 minutes earlier. So it's very important to actually be there in the right moment. As we see Joseph Hurlock, also a candidate to be in P1 right now. He is slightly slower than Renko right now. We will see in the very last bits of the track if he actually makes it possible. As we see heading with the speed to the finishing line, and it will be P2 for Joseph Hurlock. And if he doesn't go for an extra lap, that's it for him. He goes with a wet tire. As we see Sandeep Singh with the intermediate tires, we see this disparity. It is key. It's very difficult with his Ayrton Senna helmet, or Bruno Senna. We will see if he does a good lap, we will call him Ayrton. If he doesn't do a greatest lap, we will call him Bruno. And we can see his 8/10 of the pace. Maybe this intermediate tire is not the best one of all of them, and he will probably be around P9, P10 right now. And we will see which position is he on. His P8 right now. He has a really good sector 3 due to these very low wings. As we see Alexander Rogoza, just 1/10 of pole. It looks like Renko Desiu can actually lock pole right now. Alexander Rogoza for Gallery 82, he goes P2 right now. This is a completely unorthodox starting line. As we see Mateusz Majka actually going for pole. He goes for P1 right now, and it will be P1 for Mateusz Majka right now in Superlights. And then we see Joseph Hurlock going for the second attempt, going for P3 right now. This is a really, really nice result from the Ballet Esports lineup, which they are not missing Maggio today. They did the homework. Of course, they will miss him because they prefer him to be there. But P1 and P3 is as good as it can be.
What a qualifying session. Mateusz Majka at the death snatches pole from Renko Desiu by less than 0.5 of a second. It is a Valet Esports car on pole, and it's the reserve driver who has taken it. The story of the day, though, Renko Desiu, P2, what a lap from the Fusion Racing driver. They say that rain is the great equaliser. Renko Desiu has just proven their money's worth, their best qualifying result of the season so far. But man, oh man, what a qualifying session that was. It was all very much what tyre are you on, where are you at, out on track. The track got a lot quicker in that last 2 minutes of the session. It is Mateusz Majka in that Valet Esports car, though, standing in for Alessandro Maggio, who snatches pole position at the death with Renko Desiu, though. Fusion Racing car on the front row. Unreal from that, with Joseph Hurlock in P3 and Alexander Agotsu as well in P4. What a lap from the Gallery 82 driver. Robin Merling, E5, his first entry in Superlights this year, standing in for Alex Lehoux, of course, your champion from 2024. It was supposed to be Menno Clont in that car, I believe, but he chickened out at the last minute. So Robin's, he's got him. Managed to stick it in P5 with a miraculous effort there. Kudos to him. Dominic Koroshavin in P6 as well. And Maxime Bullier. This has been a massively shaken up grid. Some drivers putting in the performances of the season late in the day. Maxime Bullier, one of them in P7. Loic Moynier gets to P8. Sandeep Singh in P9. I'm not expecting the world from Sandeep tonight, to be brutally honest. I know he's got the Liverpool Bayer Leverkusen match on his second monitor. He's probably going to be more engrossed in the football tonight, especially given that, well, you know, he's locked himself into second in the driver standings. Road to Formula have confirmed their championship standing, winning 2 times in a row some rounds ago. Davide Zanini, he completes the top 10 for TTF Racing. Only 8/10 in it in the top 10, though. Jan Sikoria in P11 with Michelle Galka in P12. Brody Lawless, good showing from him on his return. He's in P13 with David Krupka, should I say, or Krupa even in P14. Jan Dragoon, he'll be disappointed with P15. I think he'll be hoping for a bit heavier rain. He was looking really, really strong early on in this session. when the rim was a lot heavier, when it lightened out, I think he just lost that time. He's clearly gone for a wet setup on the car. Vincent Gutt disappointing in P16 there for the Spark Racing driver, with Vin Glenn in P17. Matthews Pishkamp was P18 with Thomas Cooker in P19. And David Fidock, or P18 should I say. We've got 2 P16s apparently. David Fidock will be starting P20 on the grid after that crash early doors. So he's got a lot of ground to make up. Your race winner confirmed after having taken it away from last time out at the Circuit of the Americas. Meanwhile, it is Ryan Mazumda in P21. Purgis Mira will be starting at 22nd and last, unless we have anyone joining in late on as we get going in our warm-up session. What a qualifying that was, though. One of the most hectic, one of the craziest of the year. Micah stepping in for the band Alessandro Maggio, and he's only gone and stuck it on pole position again. That Valet Esports car late in the season has just been so strong. And part of me wishes they were that strong early doors, so they may have mounted more of a fight with Rotor Formula in the Constructors' Championship, but they really turned up the last few rounds here today in Sao Paulo for the final round of the season. It is no different. Warm-up session underway then, final warm-up of the season, of course, unless you're including the Race of Champions, but let's be honest, that's not really a proper competition, is it? Don't count me on that one. 59 laps await us. And then that'll be it for Superlights in 2024. Of course, we've got GPVWC Day coming up in a few weeks' time. There'll be a lot of us there. We've got the Race of Champions coming up. But after this, in terms of proper GPVWC action, there's only one more race on this year. Coming on Thursday the 7th, 2 days' time, the final Super League race of the season. And then we're done and dusted for 2024. Unbelievable how fast this season has flown on by. And what a qualifying session that was, Carlos Martin. I mean, you said just before we went live, obviously you're racing on Thursday in the Super League. You're hoping it's going to be dry for the Super League guys. But I mean, going off of that one, surely from a fan of motorsport, a fan of racing, surely you've got to be enjoying that one with the rain. It completely shook up the order.
Yeah, it completely shakes the order, and I'm very happy for a lot of drivers who actually put the effort, and they deserve to get better results from time to time. And it is very difficult to keep this push and everything through 16 races in the season. Maybe from a spectator point of view, it's very enjoyable to have 16 races and you have content to actually watch and enjoy. But from as a team and as a driver, is very difficult for everyone to keep there for 16 rounds and to keep the testing up, to keep the pressure on. And yeah, you actually have to plan everything, well, almost everything in your life according to GPV if you want to attend the 16 races. So I think it's moment to congratulate everyone who is here, who was able to just finish the season regardless of the results, regardless of any kind of performance they did. This is the moment. It was very difficult to actually, finish this. So I want to congratulate every single driver and every single team. And yeah, it will be very interesting to see from what kind of pace can Remco and can Brody, can also Robin, who are drivers who are basically, well, Remco has been doing SL2 this season, but many surprise drivers that are here today performing very well, how they can do today. And this is just a time to shine for them if any of them do not have a team for next season, which I really doubt, given the case. Probably their DMs are already firing a bit. If there are some teams that are still looking for drivers for next season. So it is a great moment to shine, and it will happen very likely on Thursday as well. There will be many opportunities for many drivers. And this is where GPV it is about, to have fun, to have the opportunity to shine with different teams doing as reserve. And right now the race, it will be very, very interesting, because I can see in the warm-up a lot of drivers having disparity of tire choices. We can see the fastest driver right now, Jan Dragoon, being on the intermediate tire. But by not much of a gap. David Fidock is the second fastest with with the wet, and now he just pitted to try the intermediate. Just to make sure you do the proper decision heading into the formation lap. Last year, in the warm-up, the best decision was to start on intermediate. But in the formation lap, actually started raining so hard that when you were standing on the grid, the best tire was actually the wet, and we saw a lot of drivers just heading into the pits to change to wet tires, or we even saw some drivers trying to keep on track, but they were losing positions. And we saw, for example, Dylan Fisher taking a podium from back of the grid penalty to using a new engine. We saw some drivers also finishing in the podium out of the top 10. And we saw Alessandro Maggio actually taking pole, if I'm not mistaken, just by remembering it. So yeah, this is not done and dusted. Definitely it's gonna happen a lot of action and a lot of things during the race. So definitely stay there and watch, because this race will not be over until you finish, until you cross the finishing line.
It certainly won't. I mean, Sao Paulo, Interlagos, Autodromo, Jose Carlos Pache, Brazil, call it what you want. It's the traditional end of the GPVWC season, and it always serves up an absolute classic. I mean, cast your mind a few years back to the Super League when the championship was decided with a move on the final lap of the race. Just absolute insanity always happens around here. Previous winners that we've had here in Superlights: Hygo Poom last year, Jan Grankvist in 2022, of course your Super League champion this year, Tom Stevens in 2021, Matthew Williams in 2020, Lucas Schmidt in 2019. Some big names have won this race in Superlights before. And we've had 5 race winners this season across this year. Maybe we'll get another one, and maybe that one will be someone who will go on to achieve bigger and better things. Of course, not that Superlights is a small championship by any means, but the second division on the GPVWC calendar. In my opinion, we're the best series on the GPVWC calendar, but don't tell the GPVWC organisers that I said that. We've got a few minutes left in this warm-up session before we get racing for the final time this season. And, well, may as well get it out of the way now. It seems like a good time to say thank you to everybody for what a fantastic year it's been once again in 2024. First of all, thank you to you guys for tuning in to race after race and, you know, being here and watching along. Again, it's, you know, the reason that we do what we do is so not only that, you know, people get out there and get involved in sim racing and race and, you know, show what they can do out on the virtual racetrack, but it's so people can enjoy as well. Without people watching along, it's pretty pointless. So thank you very much for tuning in. A big thank you to everyone who organises life here at GPVWC. And, you know, all the race directors, the organisers, the team bosses, and all of that. Big thanks to the drivers as well for showing up week in, week out, putting on these unbelievable performances for us to enjoy. A big thank you to our esteemed camera operator, Fabian Jungbluth. You won't be able to hear him. I'm not sure if he'll even say anything in my ear, but he's done a fantastic job all season. It's been great working with him. And a big thank you to you as well, Carlos Martin. It's been great being alongside you this year, and I'm very much looking forward to being your roommate on GPVWC Day.
Oh, yes.
And getting you very drunk, shall we say.
Oh, damn. I don't drink too much. Also, I will keep myself alcohol-free until we do the GPVWC karting race. After that, we can maybe explore options.
We'll unwind, shall we say.
Yeah, we will see. I can't remember what time I have the flight on Sunday. I hope it's not too early for love's God, otherwise I will just book a flight for Monday. But yeah, definitely it will be a fun event. I encourage any of you, if you are still deciding to go or to not go, definitely go. Last year it was my first experience. It was wonderful. We did quizzes last year, and we had also presents for the people who was actually scoring the most points in the quizzes. It was fantastic. The new teams for next year were announced as well, which is something to look forward. As far as I know, there are a lot of applications for next year for all divisions across. There will be more teams in Superlights, which is always great news. If GPVWC is growing, it's always great news, and the level is just rising here in GPV, which is the most important thing overall. As we see, the session is currently over, and regarding tire-wise, we can see the top 4 drivers are right now on the intermediate tires. It is true that also the intermediate tires are tires that get normally a bit too hot, and maybe they degrade a bit faster than the wet tires. So maybe if you're looking to do a very long run or to have like more of a middle answer, you will actually get the wet tires, ironically. But we will see. I can tell you the predicted rain will be through the whole race. It will rain according to the API we're using here in GPVWC. Basically, we can expect light rain, continuous light rain through the whole race. The intensity is gonna keep more or less the same for the upcoming minutes from the race start until the last 10 minutes of the race, and maybe it changes. Although you know how the weather is and how special everything is. So this might change if the wind blows east or west. So we take a side on it.
We'll have to wait and see. Again, Interlagos, it's one of those circuits where the weather is so crucial. The setup for the weather is so crucial. It does tend to rain here in GPVWC. We've seen it more often than not. And, well, given the undulation of the circuit, where it lies in the land, again, you've got, again, Interlagos, it's between lakes. You've got a lake in the middle of the circle. It used to back in the day anyway. It's much smaller nowadays. There's a big lake not too far away as well. The weather can cause havoc, shall we say, and it can change on the flip of a coin. So it's very much, again, if the rain intensifies or eases off, maybe a call to go into the intermediates or maybe switching back onto the wet at the right time can make or break your race. The drivers then, for the final time this season, are making their way onto the grid. For that lovely R-Factor 2 shot of suddenly a racing car spawning in and then out of shot, apparently, for some of the drivers. And the 2D virtual crowd loving all of the action. There's a bloke there at the front who's not even wearing a coat on the grandstand on top of the pit lane. Not the grandstand, on top of the pit building, should I say. And there's also a child who's just in a bare t-shirt. They're built different in Brazil, apparently. R-Factor 2 wouldn't change it for the world. Maybe if they come out with R-Factor 3, maybe I wouldn't, but they're too busy building Le Mans endurance games at the moment, so I don't think they will anytime soon. Waiting for the drivers to come out then. And again, in the pits, you can see all the Super League teams and all their pit garages there. We're not quite fancy enough to have our own pit garage and our own designs, but we'll roll with it anyway. On board with Remco de Joux, starting on the front row. What a qualifying lap that was. On the intermediate tyres as well as our pole sitter, I can see, starting on the wets. Looks like an interesting split of tyres on the first couple of rows. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, my live timing saying everybody on the intermediate, so maybe it's just an R-Factor 2 moment. We've had a few of those this season. But while we're waiting, let's try and run through the grid, shall we, for the very final time in 2024. It is, of course, Matthews Micah standing in for Alessandro Maggio. He starts on pole position. Remco de Joux with an incredible lap starts alongside. Joseph Herlock is third, with Alexander Ogota again a high flyer and qualifying starts in P4. Robin Merling and Doron Koroshavin, they start on row number 3, with Maxime Bulio in P7. Like Monia, he goes off of 8th on the grid in the red Ven car. P9 is Sandeep Singh, with Davide Zanini rounding out the top 10. Jan Sikora is 11th in the other TTF car. Michel Galka, he starts from P12. A little bit disappointing from him compared to his teammates. Brody Lawless is 13th, with David Krupa in 14th. Jan Dragoon starts 15th, a disappointing qualifying for him as well, given his performance early doors in that session. Vincent Gutt is P16. Vin Glenn is 17th, with Matthews Pishkan in 18th. Thomas Kutka in P19. David Feidock, a DNF early doors in qualifying after a crash. He's got a lot of ground to make up from P20. Ryan Mazumda, he starts 21st, and Purgis Miram, he starts in P22. Last of our drivers, but of course not least on our grid. For the final time this season, Carlos Martin, I know it's Interlagos, I know it's raining, but any predictions heading into this one?
Well, it's going to be absolutely crazy. There is everyone on Inters besides 4 drivers who are on wet. Maika, Herlog, Zanini, and Mazumder are on wet. The rest are on Inters. I don't know. Shall we go crazy? Let's say Remco. Okay, let's go for Remco.
We'll have to see. I mean, I feel like everybody would be overjoyed with a Remco de Gio victory as we see yet another centre helmet from Mathias Maika. I know we're in Brazil, but, you know, I won't say my opinions on all of the centre tributes we get nowadays, but, you know, we're in Brazil. It's the final race of the season. Have your fun on all that. Maika lines up on pole position. It's a bit of an awkward grid here in Brazil. It's slightly uphill, so you actually have to hold the brake to not let the car roll backwards. Otherwise, you might get yourself a penalty for moving before the red lights as everybody else slots in. And Maika as well, you can see they're starting second gear as the 5 lights come on. It is lights out, and we are underway for the very final time this season. Great launch there from Joseph Herlock in P3, but he's a bit boxed in by Remco de Gio on the inside. Maika will hold the lead down into the centre S's as look at the spray, look at the gaggle of cars, big contact behind, a few of them coming together in the mid-pack. There's more contact, someone round into the barrier, believe maybe it was Krupka that found himself facing the inside wall at the centre S's. Here comes Joseph Herlock looking to the inside, down into turn number 4 at Decisive de Largo as we try and desperately get the power back on Remco de Gio, still fighting with the Valley Esports car, but round the outside swings the Briton. Lovely move from Herlock to get into P2. Rigota still holding on to P4 at the moment as everyone jostling for position in the background. Here we see Jan Sakura fighting with Brody Lawless side by side in the middle of Sector 2 as they make their way through Pinarino and Bico de Pato as they come up to now. Lawless tries to go the long way around, starting on the intermediates again. It looked like everyone started on the intermediates on the live timing, but I can confirm there are a few that have started on the wets now that's updated. 2 drivers that started on the wets are the 2 at the front of this pack. Both the Valley Esports drivers are on the wet compound attire. That is one thing to keep your eye on. Alexander Rigota facing Remco de Gio in front. He's under big pressure. The Fusion driver goes defensive. Squeezes the Gallery 82 car to the wall. That is a lovely move by Rigota up into P3 at the end of lap number 1. But, well, not maybe as chaotic as we expected, Carlos Martin, but a few moves made on the opening lap.
Yeah, there's a lot of moves going on right now. I think the rain intensity has just dropped a lot, but there was a lot of water accumulation due to very slow lap, although it might be increasing soon. So this will be key in terms of which tire is you are supposed to be in right now. And we can see a lot of fights, we can see a lot of things going on right now. We can see drivers going wide as we see right now. Jan Dragoon just going a bit wide, and maybe he loses the position with Brody Lawless, who was very, very, very fast in the practice session. Maybe looking for a move now here in Pico de Pato. He will try to have a look on the inside, and then no, he will just hide behind right now. And they're heading into the last sector. This is really critical moments right now because there is a lot of water right now on the track. There is only 8% of rain, so it is not really critical. It should be drying out pretty soon. So maybe Rogosa and Renko will have an opportunity in the upcoming laps. Rogosa, we have seen he was very aggressive. As we see, fastest lap by Joseph Herlock, 1:22.18, and the qualifying pole lap was a 1:20. So definitely is not much wetter than what it was at the beginning. As we see Robin Milling heading a bit backwards, this backwards trend right now. He was starting in P5, he was just overtaken by Sandeep Singh. Must be mentioned, it's very different the approach that you have to do. As we see a yellow in sector 1, I think it's Vincent Gutt, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Vincent, Ryan Mazumder actually. Yeah, Mazumdar with a broken front wing, and maybe Gut was involved in the incident at the beginning of the races. We see he is P22, probably he had to go through the pit lane to repair his Spark car. So very likely happened that to him. So we can see Rogosa is actually winning time on Joseph Herlock right now. So we see Micah going a bit too wide there. Actually, he's not gonna have a good exit out of the last braking zone. So he will have to defend if he wants to keep this P1 right now. I don't think he's gonna make it too difficult to Joseph because they don't want to lose time from behind. Actually, he's gonna defend for it. They're gonna try to defend the actual position right now. Joseph Herlock going for the move from the outside. He will concede now, trying to go for a good exit for turn 3. He will be extremely close. He will just close up. Oh wow, he goes for a move on the outside. Wow, that's a great maneuver considering the outside is wetter than what it is on the inside. Probably Matthew Micah is just suffering from really high temperatures right now in these full wet tires right now, as we see Sikora also trying to go for a move on Luc Meunier. This is critical because keeping the temperatures, it is extremely important in these wet conditions. As I was trying to mention before, it has nothing to do what you do in qualifying and what you do actually in the race. So therefore, right now we can see a lot of drivers doing in different performances. As we see David Fidok also going very long. David Kulpa actually trying to make a move as well. David will try to get these positions slowly, steady but slowly. It is very difficult to actually overtake without the DRS because in these conditions there is no DRS available. So therefore it will be hard for the True North Motorsport driver to actually climb up the positions. He will need to wait for the tires to actually concede. As we see Alexander Rogosa actually going for the move on Matthews Mike, and they have contact. They have contact into turn 1, and but it was half of clean. Micah just tried to squeeze him as much as he could, and we can see right now the intermediate tires are just better than the full wet. Just because of the temperatures of the tires right now.
Some Verstappen-esque moves taking place here in Brazil as Koroshavin looks to the inside of Remco de Joux. Doesn't quite come into fruition on that occasion, but boy oh boy, it's lap 5. What a race that we have on our hands here. Joseph Herlock taking the lead from his teammate. No team orders of Vale Esports. Yellow flag out in sector 2 after Alexander Agota with a brilliant overtake got squeezed right to the wall by Micah, but slid his way on the inside. Well, it was Verstappen-esque from Herlock. That one was Fernando Alonso-esque from Alexander Agota. Just absolutely sublime racing taking place here at the final round of GPVWC.
Superlights is very close to Herlock. Very close. Yeah. He's going for P1 right now.
He is indeed. Koroshavin, great run out of Yun Sao to have a look to the inside of Remco de Joux. Does Ragota have anything on Herlock? Gonna have to go the long way round down into turn 1, side by side. Lap 6. Does Ragota have the money? Not on this occasion. Maybe the cutback, but he's gonna have to go the long way around the center races. Oh, Alexander Ragota! Think about Herlock's out! Herlock's out of the race! Who's he collected? It was Remco de Joux! Two of the front runners in this race are out on lap number 6. It was a great move from the now race leader, but Joseph Herlock, I think, got greedy on the throttle. I don't think there was contact. We'll have to see on the replay. We see there around the outside. Oh, there maybe was a slight touch. Oh, no. So unlucky for Remco de Joux, just went the wrong way. That is heartbreaking. Two of the front runners early in this race. Joseph Herlock, who is maybe hunting for his first win this season. Down and out de Joux. Now is a long way to go. He's not out of this race, but with big damage to that Fusion Racing car. Oh, and what a shame. No, and he is out of the race. 2 DNFs on lap number 6. Alexander Ragota takes the lead. I don't know if there was contact. We may have to get another look. It may be that there was a slight glance. Is it enough for a penalty, though? I mean, Carlos, you're saying there was contact. Again, you're the Super League driver here as Dominic Koroshavin now looking for a move. on the outside of Micah, who's gone backwards so far in this race. That's a lovely move by Dominic Koroshavin before the braking zone into turn one as they're all squeezing together behind. Oh, more contact there between Moynier and Jan Dragoon, the Czech driver, getting very, very feisty. Jan Sakura also looking for an attempt. Doesn't come into fruition on that occasion. Down into turn number 4 to the inside goes Dragoon. More contact between himself and Loic Moynier. It's a race of chaos already. We'll keep watching this for the time being. Maxime Bulio now looking to the inside of Micah, who's really struggling at the moment in these conditions. The wet tyres may have been the one to start on, but right now it doesn't look like they're the tyre that is working. The intermediate looks so much stronger as it stands. As David Fidok, fastest lap of the race on the last tour, at 120.708. Buehler can't find a way through at the moment. As we've got another DNF. We've also lost Krupa in this race before that incident between Herlock and Dejoux. Shame for him. So that's 3 DNFs so far. Here comes Robin Merling to the inside of Loic Moynier. Was that Loic Moynier trying at Hurling? It is indeed. Robin Merling under big pressure now. Everywhere you look, there's action going, and everywhere you look, there's overtakes. Through goes Loic Moynier. Lovely move around the outside of Ian Sao. Going back to that incident though, Carlos Martin, between Herlock and Dejoux. I wasn't sure, but you say there was contact. Look at the 3 of them to the inside. Oh, goodness me, this is going to be an accident in a moment, surely. We'll come to you in a second, Carlos. Goodness me, I'm running out of breath. There's so much going on.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. It is absolutely crazy. There is attacks here, there, and left. You actually want to have track position as soon as you can. You don't want to be slowed down by Micah, who is clearly now the slowest car. You can see there is a lot of gap between Bully and Koroshavin. We see Loic Moynier almost losing the car right now. You want to be ahead of everyone. You don't want to wait to the other drivers to actually overtake Micah. You just want to be ahead. This is the moment to be very aggressive. Otherwise, you will lose the train of the top 4 cars. Right now, we can see there are 3 cars within 1.5 seconds, which is the top 3. Maxime Bullion just trying to hand them down, and you don't want to lose time here to Micah, and that's why he is slowing down the pack. Micah wants to go a bit longer so he can secure just pitting 1 extra time after switching to intermediate, because otherwise he will need to pit twice at the end of 2 times more besides just switching now to the inters. And now he is on just trying to mitigate the time loss right now, and and then happens this kind of attacks, as we see Sandy Sim going for the move for P1 right now, the road to Formula. He is right now leading the races. We see a lot of attacks here. There is a lot of attacks. Oh, and also contacts behind. There is some contacts here with the Chaos driver, Brody Lawless and Robin Merling. And this is completely chaos, as the team just names is. As we see also a yellow flag here in sector 2. We can see a lot of attacks going, a lot of people for the inside. Loic Moynier going dive for the inside here in sector 2. He will lose the position now because he doesn't have the proper traction, and therefore he's just trying to go through the field as much as he can. So probably they're having fun, or probably they're having frustration as well, as we see fastest lap of Zanini right now, who is a bit further back, same as Fidok. So maybe something happened to David Fidok, who is behind Vincent Gutt right now. And these drivers are losing a lot of time, as we see Kutka just going for the move on Pishan here in Pico de Pato. He probably will have better traction, and they are side by side trying to head into the long left-handed, which is not recommended to go side by side there. As we see Ben Glenn, who is substituting here for Drake Racing today. The German driver making his GPVWC debut, trying to go for a move on Matthias Pishan. He will try to go dive or just go to side by side, as we see Alexander Drogoza looking for a move maybe on Dominic Koroshavin. No, sorry, Dominic Koroshavin went for the move on Alexander Drogoza, and he is now P2 right now. He will try to hand that. Also, we see more action here in turn 1, as we saw Micah going a bit wide and causing even more chaos. Robin Merling losing more positions because of this. He will try to make the move right now on Micah. Probably a lot of drivers are using a lot of push to pass right now. Brody Lawless trying to go for the move here on Matheus Pishan. Loic Moynier even losing more positions now. Well, sorry, Kutka, that's Kutka, sorry. Kutka in P10. And we can see Robin Merling maybe looking for a dive on Micah right now. And as we see, the opposite. We see the opposite from Ben Glenn. trying to go for the move on Revin Merling. Sorry, it is very difficult to keep up with the positions and who is in which position right now. There is a lot of action. There is right now, after this group, it is calming down. There is 1 second gap, so this is what it's starting on the wet tire just caused, and it was not the ideal decision. It was very difficult to interpret because they were the fastest for the first 3 to 4 laps, and then they got slower. As we see Reuben Merling now, he will need to go defensive from Ben Glenn right now, also trying to look for a move right now on Matheus Maika, going for the outside, and they have contact. They have contact, both drivers going for the cap multiple times, actually contact. Probably neither of them are happy about that move. As we see, also a move from Michel Galka on Ben Glenn right now. As we see, the car from Galka is completely damaged. We can see there is and there is contact again between Mike and Merling right now, he's completely off track. Probably the stewards will need to have a look on the moves from turn 1 and the turn heading into sector 2 right now. And the car from Michel Galka is completely damaged. As we can see, the steering wheel is completely bent, and you actually lose a lot of time. So this shows how slow Matheus Maika it is right now. He's probably waiting for the pit window for the intermediate. I don't think the window for dry tires is gonna open anytime soon, though.
It is certainly not. Very much intermediate tyres at the moment. Look at the line there from Micah, trying to use every bit of the track, but the wet tyres are just not working. It's Galka with a very damaged car, breezes on by. I mean, it's lap 12, and this has turned into a chaotic race of attrition. You gotta hope Lady Luck's on your side. You gotta hope the racing gods are on your side as Micah looks to the outside. Doesn't quite happen on that occasion. Again, he's really struggling on those wet tyres. It's definitely intermediate conditions right now. Valet Esports may have done well early on in this race, but Joseph Herlock down and out. Micah with big damage and struggling on the wets. It's a race that Valet will be quick to forget, I imagine. Oh my goodness me, what an incredible race we've got on our hands. Sao Paulo, it always serves up a classic at GPVWC. And this is already one of the races of the season. It's just been unbelievable. Lap 12 of 59, Sandeep Singh leads from Dominic Kurashavin and Alexander Ragotsa. Maxime Bullion in P4, Jan Sikora in P5. Unbelievable scenes early doors here at Interlagos. The rain easing, but still some way away from slick rubber. Let's follow Jan Dragoon. He's got a great run on Jan Sikora here. Maybe a look to the inside, maybe having to go the outside. No, he does go the inside down as they cross the start-finish line. Oh, and that's the easiest move you'll ever see done. See, we don't need DRS. Just get a good run out of the inside. Jan Dragoon moves up to P5. Lovely move there by the Czech driver. Interlagos, again, it's one of those tracks. It's a real driver's circuit. You can set up and move corners in advance, especially in the wet. The DRS doesn't even matter. You can just set the move up. If you get a good exit out of Yansao as well, sail on by. And that was a real racer's move from the Czech driver. As we've got another... Oh, David Fidok's out. That's a 50 NF. We've lost Krupka, Herlock, Deju, Mazumda, and now David Fidok. There was a brief yellow flag out in Sector 2. Fidok, of course, we saw struggling early doors. After a disappointing qualifying session, he crashed in qualifying and had to start from 19th place. And now David Fidok, his season after that win, which was taken away, then reinstated 2 weeks ago at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. He's now out of the race, ends his season disappointingly, and it has been a strong season for David Fidok, don't get me wrong, a handful of race wins, many a good performance, but Fidok will end on a low. No one wants to finish the season with a DNF, and that is a real shame. As we go back to Jan Dragoon, though, who is rapid at the moment, it must be said. He overtook Sikora on the last lap. Maybe going to have a look on the inside of Maxime Bullion. On this lap, he certainly pokes a nose. Jan Dragoon banging wheels with the Fusion Racing driver who gets all squirrely into the center S's. Jan Dragoon is feeling on top of the world right now as he moves up into P4. the Czech driver. There's been glimpses, moments of brilliance this season. Right now, he is feeling on fire. Jan Dragoon in the Drake Racing car is feeling hungry, and he is picking off drivers one by one. Up into P4 he goes, and if this pace continues, nothing is stopping him from closing in on the top three. It's a 2-second gap to Ragota in third at the moment, but it's only lap 14 out of 59. There is a long way to go in this race. And may I say, Dragoon, who has had moments again this year where he's looked superb, this race so far has been the first time that I've seen the Jan Dragoon that I know. I've known this man for a few years from his time racing in other series, on other simulators. This has been the first time I've seen him properly attempting an R-Factor 2 so far in this game. This is the Jan Dragoon that I know. This is the boy that can just step in a racing car, a virtual racing car, and just fly and show the world what he can offer. There's been moments again this year where he's looked like he's been glimpsing through, briefing through, but now he is coming into his own in Superlights in the final race of the season. He is hammering in the lap times on lap 15 of 59. His last lap, a 120.976, the only, or a 120.435, should I say. He was the fastest driver on circuit by 0.3 of a second. The only person that was near him was Jan Sakura, who is now passed, and Sakura's battling with Bulio. So as long as these tyres hold up, as long as the conditions stay as they are for the time being, Dragoon's got a real good chance to be in a very, very strong position at the end of this race. We're about to go into lap 16, or should I say we're a few moments from lap 16 of 59 here. It is Sandeep Singh that leads the race. The Ukrainian Dominik Koroshavin in P2. Alexander Ragota, he's in P3. And this man, fastest man on the circuit at the moment, Jan Dragoon, as we watch him head through Yunsao. He is in P4, but he is on fire. What an amazing performance it would be from him if he was able to win this race. Still a long way to go. Again, 5 DNFs so far early doors in this race. We've lost Krupka. Herlock and Dejoux came together early doors in the fight for the lead. Mazumda also out. David Fiduk also out. 17 runners left in this race.
Very important to mention, Ross. Right now, Koroshavin's tire and Rogoza's are falling off right now. Koroshavin was right in behind Sandeep, and he just fall 1 second behind in this very lap. He lost 1 second, and Rogoza lost 1.5 as well to Jan Dragoon and to Sandeep. Sandeep and Jan Dragoon are the only ones who are able to keep this pace right now of very low 21s. The rest of the field is racing in 22s, besides Loic Munier, who is also in 21s, but he is on very high 21s. So we are watching Jan Dragoon and Sandeep Singh being the fastest two drivers right now in these conditions. And furthermore, what the API weather app says is that the rain is gonna stop right now in very few laps, and this is gonna turn probably into a dry race in the upcoming 40 minutes, very likely. And then it will rain again for the very last 5 laps of the race. This is, of course, a prediction from the API weather app, and this might change, but we can see in the conditions that everything is just drying up, as we see Jan Dragoon going for the move, going for the podium move on Alexander Rogoza, going easy pass on the Gallery 82 driver, going for the P3 and trying to hunt for this P2 right now. He didn't even lose time because he did the overtake in the straight, so he probably even won a bit of a lap time here. And this is the key of the moment of the race, because maybe, just maybe, in 5 to 10 laps, when these inters are just falling off, maybe there is some considerations of switching to the dry tire. We can see the dry lane right now, it is very slim right now. It is too small for switching tires right now. I would say it requires 5 to 10 more laps to actually to see a difference and to actually go for the dry tire. Switching right now to the dry tire, it is completely crazy, but considering that the rain is actually dropping right now, it's not raining. According to the server, there is 0% rain, so we might see tire changes in the upcoming laps to the dry conditions.
We'll have to wait and see. I mean, we weren't expecting dry conditions in this race. Even if, you know, the track dries up, even if there's no rain, we're expecting it to be certainly intermediates the whole way through. And who knows if the rain will intensify over the rest of the races. There's Ragota coming in. That's the first one of our front runners into the pit lane.
Too early
That's
for
a
that.
very early stop.
Too early for that. This has to be Inters. Yeah, he goes for Inters.
Yeah, I mean, that's strange though. I was also in comes Vingeling. I'd have thought, Carlos, I mean, again, you're the super driver. You're the one that understands how tyres works in GPVWC. To me, I thought the Inters would have been able to go, you know, at least 4 or 5 laps longer. Maybe I'm wrong. But maybe as well, the drivers are just using them up a lot because they're all racing very hard. They've been racing very hard all race. As there was a big wobble there from Machude's Pishkan coming out of turn number 5. So maybe that's a sign to keep an eye on, because if they're coming in this early, it's either an undercut, as that's a big dive there from Loic Mournier looking to the inside, doesn't come into fruition. So maybe they're either going for the undercut, Carlos, or maybe they're using up tyres that much early doors, which could be a big concern, especially for the likes of Sandeep Singh, Koroshav and Dragoon at the front, who are, again, racing very, very hard. They might not be far off of running out of tyres.
I mean, I would expect Rogoza right now to be 2 seconds faster than anybody else, or maybe 2.5. The thing is, if it keeps drying up, do you really want to pit right now when you can maybe do the switch straight away to the dry tires in maybe 5 to 10 laps? Because yeah, you will recover 2.5 seconds the very first laps, and then you will recover maybe 1.5 seconds or 1 second. You will win a lot of time. But if you are actually in a position to actually switch tires in very few laps, you need to also consider that. And we can see the dry line is drawing even faster than what I expected. It is still not ready. It needs to be way wider than this to actually perform the slick tires to go in. But yeah, it depends a lot on how you actually drive the tire. This is very important. If you do lockups, if you do a lot of wheel spin with the tires, you can win a lot of pace, because in these wet conditions, it is not faster to actually have wheel spin. But to be cautious, it punishes you a lot in this kind of conditions. Being a bit more risky and working a bit more with the car, it is less punishing, or even I would say. It encourages you to actually do it. So we see Koroshav losing even more time in these conditions. If your wet tire or your intermediate tire in this case is just in worse state, it will just drop even further. And at this rate, I would expect everyone to just wait for it. We can see by the sectors from Rogoza, he's just been 1 second faster only in sector 2. So we can expect this maybe 1.8 seconds, maybe 2 seconds faster a lap right now. But yeah, as we can see at 20.0, whereas the front runners right now are doing high 20s. Probably he found a bit of traffic by the looks of it as well. But it's not worth it. As we see a move right now for the P7, Loic Mournier trying to go for the move on Mateusz Pisian. Oh, as we see the driver behind Kutka almost losing the control of his own car. And we see that Loic didn't make the move stick. It is very difficult in these conditions to actually do a move. Oh, as we see Loic trying to go for a dive, and there is a small tap of contact. Soon we will see DRS being enabled, because this dry line is drawing so fast, and I'm very sure everyone is waiting for this dry line to actually go for it. And the thing is, watching the API weather app, I can see that we are expecting rain in 36 minutes. 36 minutes, it is earlier than the race ending, so probably we can see maybe last 8 laps of rain of the race. And we can see Thomas Kutka going for the pit. Pitting for dry right now is very risky. It's not out of the game, but it's very risky. I wouldn't be surprised if he sets medium tires right now. It would be the way to go if you actually want to go for dries, and he goes for intermediate as we wait for it to load. As we see Loic Mournier going for the move again into the starting point of sector 2, and this time he makes it stick. He's lost so much time trying to clear up the traffic, Loic Meunier, and now he will try to make a move on the very next driver, who is Brody Lawless, who is doing a great job doing his first SL2 races. We see Matheus Maika going for the soft compound. This is the first driver who goes for the dry tire. Watch out to not crash here in the pit lane, because the full pit lane is wet. Very important. And yeah, he goes for the soft tire, which in my opinion, I don't think he can go till the end.
He wasn't the first person to go onto softs either. Carlos Coco also went onto softs. It just did not in game.
Yeah, true. You're right. You're right. We still don't have sectors from Kutka yet to actually know if he's the fastest driver right now. As we can see, the fastest lap being by Jan Dragoon, and Alexander Rolosa is just improving Sector 2 as well. So it is clearly the track is drying up a lot, and we will need to wait. Bean Glenn also fastest Sector 2. Thomas Kutka is still slower in Sector 2. He is 1.2 seconds slower in Sector 2. Bean Glenn, who is on intermediate. So they are reaching this crossover point, as we see Kutka actually losing the position right now to Bean Glenn, who is in the intermediate tires. They pitted the very similar moment. So we see Bean Glenn, the fastest lap of the race, 18.8. And these tires, these soft tires, are not ready yet. The racing line is quite wide right now, but maybe it's not ready yet. Probably it's the right decision to do right now. They will be the faster tire in a pair of laps, and probably Glenn will need to pit again. But yeah, I think it would be smart right now to actually try to do the gamble and try to go for the medium tires. The track is already ready for these medium tires, as long as you don't go out of the racing line. That is super important.
I still think it's a couple of laps too early to go to the softs, to be brutally honest. Again, there we see Kutka dipping a wheel into the wet and getting sideways. Exactly what I was talking about. Offline, it's still so damp. And if you dip a wheel, it can be a disaster. If you're going for an overtake, having to defend, it could spell the end of your race. The track, the dry line, it's appeared so much quicker than we were expecting. And fair play to the likes of Kutka, to the likes of Maika, for trying to get onto the softs earlier. Again, that crossover point, if you get onto the softs at the perfect time, it can win you a race from nowhere. And it's starting raining again, it has. So maybe out of nowhere, it's an absolute disaster.
It's going to be very heavy. It's going to be very heavy rain. It's going to be very heavy rain. Oh, wow, this came out of nowhere. This came out of nowhere.
And Matheus Maika may have just made the gravest of errors in this race, because suddenly the rain has started hammering it down again, and maybe the stops we see from the front runners will be for full wets if we're not careful. As we go looking at Jan Dragoon, looking to the inside of Dominic Koroshav, and Sandeep Singh in the meantime. He's managed to extend the gap to about 5 seconds, just slowly hammering in the laps. It's not a huge lead, but it's a comfortable lead, it must be said. Dragoon, though, looking very pacey again in the wet weather. The Czechia driver has come alive, and he's looking to the inside. Down into turn 4. A little bit of contact there, a little bit of wheel banging. But heading out of Decido del Lago, it will be Dragoon in second place. And now can the fastest man on the circuit hunt down the race leader and become our 6th winner in 2024. Lovely move there by Jan Dragoon. The contact was not heavy. It was very much a racing incident. No penalties there, please, stewards. As in comes Kutka, and he's already decided it's not worth it on the softs. He'll be coming in for a set of surely the intermediate tyres, potentially even the wets, and it is a set of inters for the Red Ven driver. It was an experiment, unfortunately. That went wrong as Vincent Gutt to the inside at Del Lago. Nice move on Purjas Miram to get into the top 10 from the Spark Racing driver. But that's a real shame there for Kutka and Maika, who's also boxed. At the time, I'm sure it looked like a worthy opportunity. Get on the softs early, see if you can last it out. And then the rain just started falling again. It's Koroshavin now comes in from 3rd place. So that'll be for a fresh set of inters, surely. Locks up the wheels as he comes into the box. Car picks up a bit of a slow pickup there from the Virtual Mechanics. Looks like another set of the intermediate tyres. Again, it's only just started raining. Be very surprised if anyone goes on to the wets. Again, the two drivers, well, everyone that's still running is on the inters, should I say, after Kutka and Mike are boxed. So right now, inters, as it has been for most of the race, they are the tyres to be on. At the start, the wets ever so slightly quicker, by about lap 3. Since then on, it has been intermediate city, and everyone is running them so far. Lap 25 of 59, not a horrendous way off of halfway through this race, and what a race it has been here to conclude the 2024 GPVWC Superlights season. Of course, if you want to get involved in 2025, head over to the GPVWC website, gpvwc.com, to find out more. Click the link in the description of the live stream to check out the Discord as well. We don't bite, we promise. That's how you can get involved if you fancy pitting yourself against the best of the best in sim racing over the next calendar year. But right now we are watching the conclusion to what has been a thrilling season in the second tier of GPVWC racing here in Superlights. And boy oh boy, we may have saved the best race till last. What a chaotic evening it has been so far tonight on Tuesday the 5th. Diwali's come to a conclusion. It is bonfire night here in the UK, and we are certainly getting fireworks here in Sao Paulo. Sandeep Singh leads by 4.5 seconds, but Jan Dragoon is slowly eating into that gap as Loic Mounier now comes into the pit lane. Dragoon has been the fastest driver on the racetrack for the last 10 laps. Now it's starting to get to a point, Carlos, where we're starting to see people come in for their opening pit stop, and not the likes who boxed early, not the likes who came in to try and gamble on a set of slicks before the rain started coming down again. You know, you're looking at Singh, Dragoon, Sakura, those kind of front runners. It's starting to get to the point, Carlos. At what point do you come into the pit lane for a fresh set of tyres?
I think now is the moment to actually, you already reached half of the race. It depends in which position you are. For example, if you are Sikora, which you are emitting your own ground, that you have the driver ahead very far and the driver behind, you're still there, but you are in a comfortable range. You can pit at any time you want. If you are Sandeep Singh and Jan Dragoon, you actually, if you are Sandeep, you want to actually mimic Jan Dragoon. You don't want to give Dragoon the opportunity to actually have a big delta of tire wear between both, because then it puts you in a very difficult position towards the end. It is true that Jan Dragoon right now is the fastest driver, and what he needs to do is to maybe just put himself in an undercut situation, that you can be maybe 2 seconds just behind Sandeep, and then maybe throw the undercut on Sandeep Singh. But the thing is, if Sandeep pits right now, he would be behind one driver. He will need to clear one driver right now, whereas Jan Dragoon, he will need to clear, he will be just in the middle between Alexander Rogoza and Dominic Koroshavin. So definitely it is not the ideal moment to pit now for Jan Dragoon. He will need to try to clear them a bit more, as we see Loic Mounier trying to go for a move on Vincent Gatt on the Spark Racing team, and he makes it stick with these new fresh Inter tires that will probably last until the very end of the race. As we see Dominic Koroshavin going for the move on Alexander Rogoza, and he makes it easy. And this is the difference. Rogoza pitted way earlier, pitted a long time ago, and now with the new fresh Inters, Dominic just makes it very easy. And you don't want to give this chance to Jan Dragoon to actually make it possible to actually overtake you easily at the end of the race if you believe he has more pace than you. So the moment is on. It depends on where, how comfortable you feel with the current tires you have. If you feel comfortable, if I was Sandeep, I wouldn't pit until I see Dragoon just being there. If you see Dragoon just approaching to the undercut range, you just pit, because you don't want to lose the position anyway to him. And that's it, and you just secure the track position. As we see Vincent Gatt maybe trying to go for a look on Bin Glen right now, as we see a yellow flag right now. Wait, Bin Glen actually. Wait, is it Loic Mounier? Yeah, it's Mounier. Mounier spun.
What happened there?
Yeah, he spun into between turn 1 and turn 2. I think he was completely clear of Vincent Gutt, so I think he did it on his own. Yeah, he did it on his own, as we see also Vincent losing the position with Vin Glenn. And yeah, I think he just spun. The conditions are really tricky. Yeah, he spun putting the power down. The conditions are pretty wet right now. Just to put it into perspective, as we see Sandeep Singh actually pitting right now. We are doing the slowest laps of the race right now, so it's definitely wetter than what it was at the beginning of the race. We see Maxime Bullier also going for the pit. Are they going for the wet tires? Maxime, I think he didn't pit yet either, so maybe they are switching, as we see very very wet here the pit lane. Maybe they are switching to the wet tires. I think it would be too optimistic to go for it right now, because the rain will keep more or less the same intensity, and you will need to get it worse than what it is right now. As we see Matheus Pichon going for the move on Reuven Merling, going for the outside. He loses the car, and this will mean he's losing another place to Loic Munier, who will actually try to make the move again on Reuven Merling. As we see Vincent Gutt, who was yet to pit, setting probably a new set of intermediate tires. As we see Dominic Korosharin going for the move on Brody Lawless, who is yet to pit again. I think these drivers who are yet to pit are trying to gamble these full wet tires right now. And I think it's slightly too soon to go for it. Maybe they are faster at this stage, as we saw at the beginning of the race, but if the rain intensity decreases as we maybe expect, so we see, Lawless heading into the pits. It will be interesting if any driver goes for maybe trying to fit the wet tires right now, because it would be interesting. Maybe if you are completely out of position and you want to help your teammate, like for example Michel Galga, who is P16, maybe it's interesting to actually set the wet tires, or any other driver. They look like to be very conservative in this regard, and they all set these intermediate tires. As we see Loic Munier going for the move on Reuven Merling, heading way before turn 1, and he goes for P9 right now. He's losing this 1v1 he said he was doing with Sandeep Singh, with Sandeep Singh being currently in P3. Just to put it into perspective, Sandeep Singh right now, he's racing very fast compared to Sikora and Jan Dragoon. He's just cutting down the gap very 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 fast. So this is the effect of the new wet or the new intermediate tires, but he knows he needs to go very long way. He's still 29 laps to go, so it's half of the race. He needs to do the same distance. As we see Jan Dragoon going for the pits, he will have 2 lap difference with Sandeep. It is pretty meaningful. Probably if it dries up or anything, it will be very useful to have this delta of tire wear. As we see Sikora going for the same, all the drivers going for these intermediate tires, nobody willing to take the risk. Maybe just the wet tires are better right now.
I think that's maybe what the likes of Jan Dragoon were waiting for, waiting to see if the conditions worsened to a point where wet tyres were the way to go. I mean, it's currently, what, a 9-second gap between Dragoon and Singh. Singh's obviously got a big advantage, but it's part of the weirdness of racing in these intermediate conditions.
Rogosa is on wets.
Oh, Ragota's on wet. Okay, yeah, Alexander Ragota. He's decided to go on wet tyres, so keep an eye on the Gallery 82 driver who's come out in 8th place. That might be an inspired call in a few laps' time, so we'll keep an eye on him. As I was saying, though, it's a very weird kind of situation we find ourselves in, where the delta difference between fresh intermediates and worn intermediates, especially, big good save there, especially in tricky conditions, it's so much greater than the delta difference between fresh slick tires and worn slick tires. Because obviously, with a little look to the inside there from Ragota, doesn't quite come into effect on that occasion, but he's looking pacey on these wets. Maybe that was an inspired decision from the Gallery 82 driver. If he gets a good exit from Yunsao, he certainly shall get that position. Gets held up a bit there by Glenn, but gets the run. That will be the easiest overtake of his life, and indeed it is. Nice stuff there from Alexander Ragota on the fresh wet. Again, though, in the wet, the difference between fresh and worn rubber, it's so much greater than that in the dry, because obviously in the dry tires, yeah, it's better having fresh rubber than worn rubber. It's quicker. It's how physics works. But in the wet, when you've got worn, wet or intermediate tires, it also wears down the tread depth. And that means that the tires, not only do they have less grip because there's less rubber on the tire, but they can't disperse as much water, which means that you lose even more grip. So when you get a fresh set of tires on that have all of the tread depth back immediately, they are so much faster, especially in these awkward conditions where it could be wets, it could be inters. It was briefly looking like it could have been the way to go slicks a few laps ago. So Jan Dragoon, yes, he's lost a lot of time boxing later than Sandeep Singh. Chances are he was probably waiting to see if it was the correct way to go to the wets. He decided, no, it's not, it's the inters. Of course, that'll benefit him later on in the race, and we know that he, especially earlier on, he was the fastest driver out on the circuit in these intermediate conditions, and he's already getting back on that. There's only about 4 seconds, 5 seconds separating himself on Sandeep Singh. He's already carved away at that gap. But it just shows to show, you know, he was 2-3 seconds referencing. He's lost a couple of seconds at least in the pit lane, just because Singh boxed earlier, got those fresh intermediates on with the full tread depth, so he has the maximum amount of grip. While, you know, the likes of Koroshav, Dragoon, Sakura, they're out there fighting not only on worn tires, but tires that are just no longer able to disperse that water. When it's drying up, you can, you know, run the so-called slick intermediates. You can get away with that, but not in conditions where it's getting worse and worse across the course of the race. It is lap 33 of 59. We're over halfway through the final race of the season here at GPVWC Superlights, and what a race we've had in our hands so far. Just absolute chaos. As we've also lost Michelle Gauka from this race, so that is our 6th retirement of the day. 16 drivers left running in this race, so only one won't be picking up points in this affair if anyone finishes as they do. It is currently Sandeep Singh that leads the way from Koroshavan, from Jan Dragoon, who is still the fastest driver out on circuit after those pit stops. He's carved into Koroshavan's lap times. We're currently watching Loic Mounier chasing down Bing Glen for P8, seeing if he can fight his way through the red van car against the Drake Racing car. Again, good exit out of Yun Sao, and that'll be the easiest overtake you can do again, even without DRS in these Formula cars here in Superlights. A good exit out of that corner almost guarantees you a move down into turn number 1. Just such is the nature of Interlagos, a real old school circuit, and this could be a real old school move from Loic Mounier to the inside on the brakes. Squeezes Glenn to the outside. That is lovely stuff to get up into P8 as he heads into the center S's. Not the not the hardest of overtakes, shall we say, but Loic Mounier continuing to move forward. He is now up into P8. Alexander Ragota, the next driver in his sight. Matthews Micah, we saw him with damage early on. He was one of the ones who gambled onto slicks. He's currently running P16 and last on the road. It is unfortunately, after a pole position, not been Micah's evening tonight in the Valet Esports car. Valet Esports, again, they've had the fastest car, and I think it's safe to say they had the fastest car in qualifying, certainly tonight. The fastest car in the last few rounds, but tonight it has just not gone their way. They lost Joseph Herlock early on after that crash with Remco de Joux. And Matthews Micah, he's just been in the wars as Jan Dragoon tries to go around the outside, makes it easy, gets done before the braking zone, really sideways from Koroshavin, does well to keep it from crashing into Jan Dragoon, holds on to 3rd place but loses a chunk of time. There's a long way back to Jan Takora in P4. It wasn't a save, but he did well to stop from crashing into his opponent out on the racetrack. Kudos to Koroshavin, the Ukrainian, displaying incredible car control in the wet there as it went fully sideways on him. He'll drop down to P3 as a result. Let's get a replay of that. Goodness me, that was properly sideways from the Ukrainian. Let's see what happened. He ducks back in to the dirt. Yeah, hits the brakes, and I think just hits a pole, maybe a little bit of rear locking, and it just goes around at him. And yeah, that was maybe a bit of a brown trousers new suit moment. Koroshavin, though, he's able to hold on to the podium positions. That will be his best finish of this season if he is able to hold on to that P3. And what a P3 it would be for the Ukrainian as well. Let's see if he can stay there. But that will be moving up to P2. The man who is fastest out on circuit at the moment, Jan Dragoon, as Thomas Cook getting done by Vincent Gutt there. He'll have to hold on. Lap 36 of 59. Again, Carlos, I think a lot of drivers being patient, waiting to see if maybe we're going to get the wet tyres in a few laps' time.
Yeah, they're definitely looking for it. The rain right now is pretty stable. Alexander Rogoza right now is losing a bit the pace that he had at the beginning. He was able to match all the intermediate tires, and he was at some points even a bit faster. But it looks like that the rain intensity has decreased a bit. Right now, it is a bit lower than what it was before when it was storming. And checking the weather app, it says it will stay as a low rain in the upcoming 10 minutes, and then it will increase a bit, but it will not be anything crazy. It is very mixed conditions, and everything is changing from one moment to another. The clouds are just going through the circuit, and they are just hitting it, and just a bit of wind towards one direction or another. It just changes completely the intensity of everything. And that's why it's very difficult. Ooh, as we see Kutka is suffering to keep the car in turn 3. And that's why we see a lot of drivers just hesitating to do, what do we do? Do we keep on the wets? Do we change to the wets, or do we keep an intermediate? And probably the teams have very similar information as I do, and they can see there is continuous light rain expected, and maybe increasing a bit later in the race. So there was not much of a point to actually change to the wet tires. Maybe if you want to do a gamble, if you're completely out of position, and maybe you want to do it, but this rain will more or less keep until the end of the race. We can see Jan Dragoon also cutting down the gap to Sandeep Singh slowly but steady. It is true that the very first 2 laps of the tire are completely massive, and the Road to Formula driver who is looking to drive Super League next year will need to keep this gap, or actually fight for it in the very last laps of this race. Because if you are Dragoon, you want to play the long game. You know these conditions are gonna, or very likely are gonna stay until the very end of the race, and whenever you get to the rear end of Sandeep Singh, you want to keep the tires on the best state possible, so the overtaking move is more likely. I would say probably Sandeep has more seconds of push to pass compared to Jan. Jan had to climb up the field way more compared to Sandeep. They were both starting from further than P7. I think Singh was starting P9 or something, and Jan Dragoon was starting way further back from that position. So there are 2 drivers who started further back from the position, but Sandeep, as a consequence of the incident between Herlock and Remco, he was able to catch up a lot of positions. So that you need to take that into account. You want to get there with the biggest tire advantage possible, and then use the push to pass to actually make the move. The push to pass is key, otherwise it will be very difficult to pull the move unless there is a completely fall off from the tires from Sandeep, which we've never seen the case on Sandeep. Sandeep was one of the best tire keepers, we can say, in this grid. Whereas Jan was a bit more aggressive, but today we've seen he was completely on point. As we see Ben Glenn actually pitting for new tires. He was one of the first drivers to actually switch intermediate, so it makes sense that he is switching right now. As we see Lok Munier going on the pressure of Alexander Rogoza, who is lapping right now 23.1, as the front runners are right now actually racing in very low 22s or even mid 21s, as Jan Dragoon is doing right now. He is very close. He will surely try to do an attempt of overtake on Alexander Rogoza. The good news for Alexander Rogoza is that the conditions are not too critical that he needs to swap tires. He's losing a bit of time, but he will lose more time if he actually goes for the pits. so you actually want to keep in this tire just in case. As Loic very close, he will pull the move just right before the braking zone. It will be easy for the Red Van Racing driver, who is an incognita where he will be racing next season, if he will be racing. It will be very interesting to see the off-season moves.
Yeah, it will be indeed. I mean, we've had a few announced already. I mean, we know that Fusion Racing are holding on to both of their drivers in Maxime Bueller and Remco de Joux. We know that Road to Formula, they're moving up to Superlights and presumably holding on to Alex Laho, your 2024 Superlights champion. Of course, we'd be very surprised if Team Boss Sandeep Singh decided to put himself out of his seat, but sometimes Sandeep does what Sandeep wants to do. So
I can confirm you he's there. I can confirm you he's there.
That's all you need to know. I mean, I also know he's currently watching the Liverpool game on his second monitor, still leading the race as well, might I add. So it's clearly quite a boring game if I just quickly look up the score. And I can confirm it's half-time at Anfield, Liverpool 0, Bayer Leverkusen 0. So he's clearly very bored with that, and he's decided to focus for a change out on the racetrack. Joking aside, he's doing a fantastic job out on the racetrack, and I'm very, very excited to see what both himself, Alex Laho, and Road to Formula can do up in the top echelons of GPVWC in Super League in 2025. And well, yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting off-season. I mean, there's plenty of drivers on this Superlights grid. I mean, Carlos, you're the Super League driver here. You can tell me I'm lying, but to me, there are lots of drivers on this grid that could very easily, do a very good job up in Super League. Some of them may stay, some of them may move up. So very excited to see what happens. Oh yeah, he is coming into the pits.
He's pitting.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's an intermediate change tire. Probably he's just struggling, or maybe he just did a big lockup and he goes for the pits. But yeah, you're completely right. There is a lot of talent here in Superlights. I think there is maybe 6 or 7 drivers that are they could do a really, really good job in Super League. I think my personal 2 prospects, and this is no disrespect to anyone here, are Alex, who is the champion, and that's no doubt of that. And I would say the other prospect is Maggio. I think Maggio has had a very rough season, but he is an amazing prospect to get in your team lineup, even if you are the likes of any top team in Super League. This is not even a future bet. I think it is a really present bet. Hopefully he will be able to stay in his very beloved team, Vale. I know he loves the team, he loves the team owner, and he loves his teammates, so it will completely make sense. He's able to keep there, and I think we are all rooting for that. But if he's not, I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to do the jump on one of the very top teams in the grid. I think he will fit in any top tier team that is actually contest for the championship. Those are my two bets, I would say, from Superlight, but there's many other drivers who can actually do very, very, very well in Super League and contest for top 10s and point positions. We can say Sandeep Singh, we can say David Feidogen. He has demonstrated that. He's a Super League champion as well. We can see Jan Dragoon as well. I think Jan Dragoon is also a bit under the radar by the season he has done, and he makes less noise than Maggio, so maybe people actually don't notice as much. But Jan Dragoon is also one of the drivers that you will want to if you are one of the Super League teams. I think he's extremely underrated. I rate him very highly, and I wish him nothing but the best. And maybe also he's not doing the best race today, but he's done very great races here in Superlights. Loic Meunier, he has done also great races. We see Jan Dragoon only 1 second off from Sandeep Singh. Is he gonna get this win?
I'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'll echo your comments on Jan Dragoon. I mean, I've known the guy since he used to race in Assetto Corsa a few years ago, and he was so talented, just an abundance of natural ability in a virtual racing car. And, you know, I'd agree that I've not been as impressed as I would have hoped to have been this year. Don't get me wrong, there's been a whole host of second places for the Czech driver. But he's just been, you know, someone who's had a bit of bad luck, similar to Alessandro Maggio. The season, sometimes, you know, lady luck, racing gods, whatever you want to say, it just doesn't quite go your way. Jan Dragoon's been one of those drivers where it's not quite worked out from every single race this year, but a driver that I think is just so strong, has such a strong foundation of natural talent. You know, whether he's here in Superlights next year, if he makes the jump up to Super League, I'm very excited for what 2025 can hold. And I mean, you know, this could be a mission statement as well. I mean, he's been out and out the fastest driver all day today. You know, it wasn't the strongest qualifying, but in the race itself, I think, you know, even though he's second, he's been carving into Sandeep Singh's lap times. And, you know, he's definitely been the one we've all been keeping our eyes on. And I think, you know, to end the season with his first Superlights win, that would be a mission statement going forward into 2025. We'll have to wait and see. It's lap 43 of 59. We are on board with the man in question, Jan Dragoon. He's currently 1.3 seconds behind your race leader. But again, he's been slowly carving into that lap time. Or into that time, should I say. A little bit of lap traffic up in front of him. I believe that maybe actually Robin Merling up in head, who probably won't make it the easiest to pass. Just for Sandeep Singh's sake. But also Sandeep, he's a very fair racer. And as I said, Robin Merling does let him through. Merling as well, you can tell he was on appointment. It was supposed to be Menno Clont in that Road Formula car. It was so last minute that he's actually running with Alex Laho's race skin and helmet. Trust me, he's not French. I can confirm that is Robin Merling. Again, Sandeep Singh, if there was another team and another driver leading the way, I would have said maybe that's difficult for that blue flag to happen. But Sandeep, he's a very quick driver. He's a very respectable driver. You know, he very much likes to do the talking out on the track. He likes the team to do the talking out of the track. And he likes to keep as much politics out of it as possible. He is not going to give team orders to let a lap car hold up his nearest rival. And now, well, Jan Dragoon, well, Sandeep Singh, probably looking in his mirrors with a little bit of concern. Because Dragoon, well, he's carving in a couple of tenths a lap at this rate. And I don't think it's going to be far off before if you see the front two fighting. A brief yellow flag out of Sector 1, got as quickly as it arrives, as Davide Zanini also dives into the pit lane. The Italian Panini, that should be his last pit stop this season. As there we do see our race leader, Sandeep Singh, who's had a monstrous season, it must be said. Of course, Road to Formula, their second Superlights victory in the Constructors' Championship in a row. He's locked himself very much into second place in the drivers. Jack Mayer not here this evening. Well, it was close between those two until Jack Mayer missed out in Singapore. Jack Mayer, again, not here tonight. After he broke his 6-year streak of not missing a single race, he's managed to miss 2 in the space of 6 weeks. So, Jack Mayer, what you doing? Sort yourself out. But, yeah, Sandeep, I mean, what, that's 3 race wins this season. A fair few podiums along the way as well, and some consistent finishes. He's had a monstrous year himself. The team, obviously, as I said, second championship in a row for Road to Formula. Their second Drivers' Championship in a row as well. And they've just had a fantastic year. He'd love to finish it off with a win, I'm sure. But he'll also be, well, if the race with Dragoon, if Dragoon manages to get right up to the tail of them and they race hard, I'm sure he won't be disappointed with a second place. We'll have to wait and see, because we're starting to get into the latter phases of this race. So we'll have to wait and see if Dragoon's got enough rubber left, if he's got enough pace left. If Sandeep Singh has the composure to hold on to the lead, he's got a bit more lap traffic to get through, so that'll hold him up, especially if he catches them here in the center S's. He will get a bit of dirty air, but nothing too crucial. As there you do see Jan Dragoon again 2 tenths faster on that last tour. The Czech driver is coming. And, well, I think we may have a monster battle on our hands for this race victory. Sandeep Singh looking for his 4th race win this year. Jan Dragoon looking for his first GPVWC Superlights win. And what a way to do it if it was in the wet in Brazil at the final round of the season after a year of bad luck and ups and downs. The Czech driver, is he feeling the nerves? Is Sandeep Singh feeling the pressure from behind? The Welsh team of Drag Racing have also had a very strong season, it must be said. Of course, it's not been the ultimate season, They've not had the most complete set of results. No wins, unfortunately, for them so far. But it has been very, very competitive. Of course, Tom, or as I like to call him, Vincent van der Voort, as there was a big ooh as Sandeep Singh gets it wrong out of Yun Sao, and this could be the opportunity for Jan Dragoon. He did have to back out of it as he got on the gas. Maybe a lunge into turn number 1. He might have to go the long way around the outside. Sandeep holds it to the outside. Dragoon to the inside for the race lead. That is a mighty move, but he runs wide. He's got the inside for turn number 2. They managed to avoid each other. Sandeep Singh should just hold on. Jan Dragoon tries to squeeze round. They're still side by side as they run down the second straightaway on the run into Decisive del Lago. Sandeep Singh to the inside. He will just about hold on as he squeezes Jan Dragoon. And maybe Singh Carlos Martin is feeling the pressure because a small error there. Suddenly this race for the lead that we thought was a few laps away is suddenly right on our hand.
Yeah, I think he was a bit disturbed by the 2 cars in front, that he was way closer than the last lap, and he maybe got distracted by that fact that they were a bit close to him, and he completely lost the rear end of the car, and that's why I reacted like that. But this is not over. Jan Dragoon can actually have an attempt in these very upcoming laps, and well, he got it again. He got this moment again. He's using a lot the AstroTurf in the outside, and we can see Ruben Merling actually catching them because of these mistakes and this defensive driving they are doing. But I have to mention, or I have to remind maybe, that Sandeep Singh is the driver with the highest top speed in this field, so definitely it's not gonna be easy for Jan Dragoon to actually pull the move. He will need to brake really late like he did in the previous lap, and try to make it stick and to hold on the inside. Otherwise you will lose the attempt again. Just to mention, they raced this past lap that they were fighting in 1:23.5 and 1:24, whereas the rest of the field is racing in 22s or 23s. Dominic Karoshami, by the way, he pitted some laps ago. He pitted for new inters. So he is trying to catch up on these guys that he was in front of. He had 2 spins, by the way, with the previous set of tires, so probably he felt he couldn't go until the very end, and that's why he pitted, and will try to fight back for this P3 that he was keeping. But it will be very hard for Dominic Koroshami. He's currently 12 seconds off from P3, and as we see, Jan Dragoon really close again. He is using a bit more the wet line. He has this a bit higher downforce. Oh no! He completely lost it! Oh no! This is terrible! Oh my god! He completely lost it on exit, trying to put the power down and to create the gap to Jan Dragoon, and he now loses every single chance to actually win the race. He had completely lost 11 seconds. We could see like Jan Dragoon was struggling as well for traction, and then Sandeep Singh, maybe he felt Jan was too close, and then it just loses. Yeah, you completely lose it. He was doing nice to actually keep it from any wall and anything. And oh wait, he actually touched the wall a bit there. Hopefully nothing too big for Sandeep, but I think this is game over for Sandeep Singh from the Road to Formula Racing driver and team boss. And now Jan Dragoon just walks up to his first race win this season.
I do not believe my Goblin Bins, a man who has been so impeccable all season. At crunch time, Sandeep Singh gets greedy on the throttle and makes a crucial error. As there we see Vincent got a lovely move to the inside to get into P9, takes it from Alexander Ragota. Sandeep Singh, who was lucky not to hit the inside wall and come away with worse damage. But man, oh man, that is not how we expected that battle for the lead to go. But suddenly Jan Dragoon is in no man's land, and that's maybe where the pressure comes. It's quite easy focusing on a driver ahead, hunting them, fighting them. Suddenly, when you know you're in for your first race win in GPVWC Superlight, and you're running on your own in the wet, Will the pressure come to the Czech driver? Will he keep his cool and his composure and bring it home? We're on lap 50 of 59. What an unbelievable twist in a race that has already seen chaos, that has already seen drama and tension all the way throughout. There is a reason the GPVWC keeps Sao Paulo, keeps Interlagos for the final race of the season, because it always serves as a classic, and once again, we have got one of those on our hands. After a mistake from Sandeep Singh, Jan Dragoon now leads by 11.5 seconds. Singh holds on to P2. Jan Sikora has managed to slide into P3 in all of that chaos. And he's got a good gap back to Maxime Bulio in P4 as well. What a ridiculous top 10 we're seeing right now. I mean, it's Dragoon, Singh, Sikora, Bulio, Lawless, Koroshavin, Moynier, Pishkan, Gut, Ragota. We've lost Krupka, Herlock, Deju, Mazumda, Fidok, Galka. What a crazy, crazy, crazy race we have. We're on board with Koroshavin. The Ukrainian gets very sideways as they head into Yunsao. You can tell the tyre is starting to protest. A year's worth, a season's worth of fatigue and tiredness, hard work starting to reach the drivers. They know they're just 8 laps over from all of this effort being concluded. They want to make it to the end, and Dominic Koroshavin wants to make up more places. A classic dive up the inside into turn 1 from the Alpha Sierra driver. Catches Brody Lawless napping. Brody Lawless, don't get me wrong, he's had a fantastic race so far tonight. A driver who has jumped in from Formula Sprint 2 and has had 1 podium to his name in this year in that category. He's jumped in to Superlights and has really put on a show and is showing the Superlights grid he deserves to be here in 2025. But Koroshavin with a lovely move. Lawless just had no answer on that occasion. The Alpha Sierra moves up to P5, and just in front of him as well, Maxime Bulio. Does the Ukrainian fancy matching his best finish in 2024 with another 4th place? He was in the contention for a podium earlier on. It's faded away from him so far. I mean, with the chaos that's going on, it could very much still be on if there's a mistake from one of the top 3. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Jan Dragoon looks super, super comfortable. Sandeep Singh's taken a back seat. He wants to bring it home. He's backed off the pace. He's slowing down. And he's looking to hold on to P2. Jan Sikora as well. What a race that man has had. Currently running in P3. That would be his best result of the season. He was 4th in the first round at Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia. Since then, best result of 5th, 1 6th place, a whole host of 7th and 8th places. What a way to wrap up the season it would be with a podium. Koroshavin's on the move though, to the inside of Bulio, down Del Lago, tries to look, Bulio holding on to the outside. Bulio will have the inside for turn number 5 as well, and will just about hold on that Fusion Racing car. Koroshavin will have to wait a few more moments. Bulio goes defensive. They're still side by side. This time Koroshavin's got to get it done as he sticks it around the outside. Parks it on the apex. Lovely racecraft from the Ukrainian. Gets up into P4. That's 2 positions in 2 laps. Wonderful, wonderful stuff on lap 53 of 59. Koroshavin, the podium may be out of grasp. Pretending a disaster. Oh, goodness me. As I say, that gets it really wrong on the run into Yunsao. And it just goes to show that you can't even blink. You can't even make a single micro misjudgment, and you could be in real trouble. Brody Lawless in Florian Guy's car with Florian Guy's helmet, looking for a move on Bulio, who's looking for a move on Koroshavin. Carlos Martin, the race for the win may be over. We got a huge race for 4th place in our hands.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. They are going for everything. You cannot relax at any single moment. We have seen it with Sandeep. We have seen it with Koroshavin just right now. And this is This is hectic right now. There is a lot of fights right now. There is the fight for P4 right now that Koroshavin has way better tires. He pitted some laps ago for fresh new Inters. So presumably he will keep leading this pace. And we can see also a fight for P8 right now between Pishana and Vincent Gutt. So there are multiple fights, and also Kutka with Maika a bit further back down in P13 and P14. So there is a lot of action for this race-ending season. This season-ending race, sorry. This has been one of the most action-packed races we have had this year, if not the one that had the most. And this is absolutely crazy, and everything can happen as we see Brody Lawless trying to go for maybe another move from Maxime Bulliot. He's doing an awesome race. I'm very sure he will be glad with P6, but what if he can bring a P5 for Chaos? He takes the slipstream, he tries to go for the move on the inside, switching outside and inside. Maxime keeps it clean, he gives the required overlap, and Brody Lawless cannot make the move right now. There is a lot of respect for both drivers. Maxime wants to bring these very important points for Fusion Racing. There is another time for a move. Oh, they have a little bit of contact on the rear end of Maxime Bulliot. Oh, another one. Oh, Brody has to be very careful. You don't want to actually pick an accident here. There is a lot of laps still to go. There you could see the effect of the push to pass. It is really effective in these conditions where the traction is so important. If you put the power down very early, and is the only overtaking tool you can do here right now, because there is obviously no DRS, as we see also Vincent Gutt making the move for P8, so he gets another position and probably not anymore. And we see the most heated point of the race right now, which is this fight for P5. Maxime probably he's struggling for the tires. Brody is pushing a lot the car on traction, and we saw how dangerous it is to push too much the car in that specific corner. Maybe he goes for a move in turn 1. I think he's a bit too far behind to actually pull the move. And Maxime, almost touching the grass there. Oh, and then Brody almost losing the car there in the inside as well. They are in the absolute limit of the car. They are also in the absolute limit of the driving, taking as much track as they can. This is absolute cinema, and it's absolutely crazy. They have 5 laps to go to actually try to make the move stick, and they will not give up any inch, any centimeter of this very exciting track that is the Autódromo José Carlos Pace, that is in Interlagos. It has been absolutely crazy. It will keep the weather until the very end, as we see Brody Lawless correcting the rear end of the car. It will be very, very bad if he overheats the rear tires, because then he will not have a chance to have a look on Maxime Bulliot. So maybe he needs to pack up a bit the tire temperatures for having an attempt in the last 3 laps, well, in the last 4 laps that are still having, as we see also Maxime Bulliot struggling for this grip. They are looking forward for it. These are the slowest laps that we have had the whole race. Everyone is racing in 24s and 25s, as we see Brody Lawless maybe trying to have a look on the inside, but then he just commits to the outside. Maybe he's gonna try a switchback. He's extremely close heading into turn 3 right now. He will definitely have an opportunity heading into turn 4 right now. Maxime Bulliot needs to go defensive if he wants to keep this P5 for Fusion Racing. He keeps on the outside, he leaves the inside for Brody Lawless, and Brody Lawless makes a stick. He keeps in the racing line, and he gains the position.
Lovely, lovely stuff there. I mean, you said this is absolute cinema. Someone call up Hollywood, because you cannot script GPVWC. Lap 56 of 59. Only a handful of laps left in the 2024 season, and my goodness me, we have saved the best till last here in Superlights. What an unbelievable race. We are privileged to be witness to, as Kutka to the inside of Agota at turn 1. Lovely move from the Red Ben drive into P12. And that's, well, done and dusted. Awesome from him. Is that Micah getting involved as well there in the background? The Valley Esports driver, he took pole position and has just had a very, very disappointing race. Damage early on, took the gamble on the slicks. He's still on the wet compound tyre, it must be said. Or is that that's Ragota even that's on the wet? So Ragota maybe struggling because I don't think the conditions are for the wets right now. So I don't think it's going to take too long till the Valley Esports car of Matthews Micah finds his way through. But Robin Merling as well there trying to... Getting a bit held up there is Micah, and through tries to squeeze Robin Merling. Bit of wheel-to-wheel action there as they come together briefly. Oh, this is brilliant for the final points-paying positions. They're still side by side somehow. Merling's going to squeeze past into 14th place. Let's see who gets the best run out of Yun Sao, because that's going to be where the money's made. Merling's trying to go straight together. Merling, and that'll be Ragota off the road. Did Merling go around as well? I don't think he did. And that's Ragota down to 15th. Heartbreak for the Gallery 82 driver. Let's get a replay. I think Merling went to the inside. May have missed his braking zone slightly.
I think he had all of that, though. I think he was required to have the inside. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ragota shouldn't have turned in as much. And just to put it into perspective, there was a lot of going on this race between Mike and Merling. So probably they are... Yeah, I think Ragota slightly turned in because he didn't expect maybe the move there from Merling. I mean, it makes sense for Merling to do the move there because you don't want to put yourself in danger of Micah again. He's faster than Micah, so maybe he has another chance heading into the upcoming laps. But they had a lot of going on between those two drivers in the early stages of the race when Micah was on the wet tires and Merling was in the inters. So yeah, Merling is already behind Micah, so probably we will see another action between both drivers as we see Jan Dragon. He's about to start his very last lap of the race. It will be a pleasure for him to finish this race in P1. He absolutely deserves this P1 finish at Sao Paulo. He has worked really hard during the season. He's pulled great performances. He had to fight the powerhouses of Road to Formula, Spark, Vale, and even True North through the season by his own, and he now achieves this actually winning the race in front of everyone in the most difficult race of the season. Definitely it will feel really sweet for him.
Jan Dragoon has only ever won one GPVWC race before. That was the reverse grid race number 2 in Formula Sprint 1 in Baku last year. The Czech driver, he has so much natural talent. He made the jump over to R Factor 2 a few years ago. This has been his first full season here in GPVWC. He has had 4 second places to his name in Superlights. For one reason or another, it has never gone his way. But he will save the best till last. Jan Dragoon is a race winner in the final race of the season here in GPVWC Superlights. A 6th race winner of the season. And what a race it was, what a season it was for the Drake Racing driver, the Welsh squad's first victory this year as well. And it is well deserved, Jan Dragoon. Sandeep Singh will hold on for 2nd place. He will be disappointed. He probably felt there was a win there. Jan Sakura as well onto the podium, his best result of the year. What a story for TTF Racing. What an incredible evening we've had as Dominik Koroshavin, the Ukrainian, also matches his best performance of the year. But tonight is about one man. That man is Jan Dragoon, our 6th race winner of 2024. His first race win in GPVWC Superlights. A fantastic result for Brodie Lawless as well in P5. Just a crazy result sheet that's going to read at the end of this race. As we've still got racing going on as well. This is for P9. This is Glenn versus Pishkan as they come out of Yun Sao. Who's going to get the better drive? It will look like Vin Glenn. Does Pishkan have any push to pass as they head down the main straight all the way to the line to end the season off? What's Pishkan got in his locker? He might have a run. He might give it a go. He will give it a go at the line. Machoose Pishkan gets P9. Wow, wow, wow. By 0.3 of a second in the end. Talk about leaving it late for the true North driver.
Oh no. 30,000. 30,000.
30,000's at the line even. I was looking at the live timing, of course, which extends itself even after the race is finished. But Machoose Pishkan gives it, what's that, it's a 4-something, a 480 or something like that to celebrate. Of course, if this was real racing, that would be a disqualification and a race ban and a wrecked motor as well. Luckily, we're in sim racing. Oh boy, what a way. What a way to end the 2024 GPVWC Superlight season. A crazy, crazy race from lights out to checkered flag. And come the end, it's this man who has been so close multiple times this year, who has so much natural talent. Finally, Lady Luck has shone his way. Jan Dragoon takes victory here in Sao Paulo. Carlos Martin, what a race we have just seen. It's Jan Dragoon who takes victory. Sandeep Singh P2 with Jan Sakura P3. Dominic Koroshavin was 4th with Brody Lawless in 5th. Maxime Bulio in 6th. Loic Mounier 7th. Vincent Gunn in P8. Machoose Pishkan in P9 from Vin Glenn in P10. Those two trading places at the finish line. What a crazy, crazy result sheet we are going to have at the end of this one. But that is your top 10 here. Hopefully we'll see everybody else in just a short moment. And there we do indeed see them. It will be Davide Zanini in P11. Thomas Cook at 12th. Machoose Micah. He'll be heartbroken on that P13. Qualifying was amazing. The race just did not go his way. With Robin Merling in 14th. Alexander Ragota 15th. And Perjas Miram, our last finisher. He just misses out on the points in P16. Unfortunately, we lost Michelle Galka, David Feiluk, Ryan Mazumda, and Remco de Joux. That is 17th down to 20th. We also, of course, lost Joseph Herlock and David Krupa from this race. Carlos Martin, what a way to wrap up 2024.
Yeah, it was a great way to wrap it up. And I will ask you, who was your MVP or driver of the day? Because you always ask me. And I always give you the same answer. But who was it today for you?
It's got to be. It has to be Jan Dragoon.
You see?
He was fastest out on track all day. He didn't make a mistake. Yes, there was a bit of luck with Sandeep Singh making a few mistakes. But I feel like even without that, he would have got through anyway. It was a beautiful race from the Czech driver and a well-deserved win. Who was yours, Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for me. Jan Dragoon is clearly the driver of the day from today. I almost always say it, whoever it wins, it deserves to be the driver of the day. Although there must be a lot of mentions today, I want to give it a very special mention to Brody Lawless, who actually just showed up today. He didn't have any experience with the car. He finished P5. I'm very sure he's extremely happy. I mean, I could mention a lot of drivers, but if you want to do a special shout out, of course, the driver of the day today is Jan, and then maybe my one especially is for Brody Lawless.
Brody Lawless definitely deserves a shout out as well. What a P5 from him. Let's get on with our interviews though. First up, I was about to drag Sandeep Singh in, but he's decided that he doesn't want an interview right now. So
but he's there, right?
He is there, but I remember last time when we dragged him in and he got upset because we didn't drag him into the green room first. I'll give him a moment. I'll drag him into the green room now so he's aware, so he doesn't say anything off topic, and then we'll drag him in. Let's speak to Sandeep Singh then. Sandeep, P2 to end off the season. I mean, there was a bit of a mistake there, unfortunately, that allowed Jan Dragoon to slide on through, but still a very, very solid race from yourself to end off not only the year, but of course yours and Road to Formula's time in Superlights. Must be pretty satisfied with that.
It's all right. I didn't bother changing my setup. I just went with my dry setup. I just didn't care. And then it started drying out. I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is actually gonna work out. And yeah, I don't know. I didn't even feel the rig going. It just happened. I
mean, what actually was it?
I didn't even think I was touching the throttle much either when it happened. I don't know. Maybe I just dipped the wheel on the wet line, but basically, as soon as it got like 15% rain, I was just getting screwed over. I was getting screwed because I couldn't keep the. What channel's the game on? It's on Amazon. Hold up.
No way, Sandeep. Come on, be with us. Be with us. here in
I
the
was watching.
interview.
I was watching Jack streaming it. He was streaming the match on while I was driving as well. But
Of course, he was. You were watching the football through very legal means, of course, and
Yes.
you know,
what, Amazon
yeah.
Prime?
Yeah, of course, and it was definitely you watching it and not someone else streaming it for you.
No, someone else was streaming it.
We'll leave it at that. I mean, what's the score? It's 2-0 if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So
Good goal.
at least there's that for you. You're winning at home, so I'll give you 2-0 Anfield to Liverpool against Bayer Leverkusen if anyone cares about the Champions League. But yeah, I mean,
I didn't even feel the ray going when it happened, and I don't know if I'm sure it's just because of I don't know. I was winning my dry setup. Look, everyone else pretty much went with the wet setup with more wing, so it was pretty funny when I was like 15 kilometers quicker than people on the straights.
I mean, I'll ask you one more question before I pass you over to Carlos. Obviously, you and Road to Formula, you're moving up to the Super League, the top tier next year. That wraps up your time in Superlights. You know, you've had a fantastic last 2 years. You know, what's your take on the second tier of GPVWC looking back?
Only 2 years.
Well, I mean, obviously you've had fantastic more years than that, but you know, especially the last 2 years have been incredible.
I'm going to say 5 years because I have 3 teams. I've been part of 3 constructor titles in those times. So I mean, I can't forget who I've teamed up with. It was Ryan. You know, sad to see them leaving GPV, and then it was Matteo, who's a bloody fun ass teammate to have in 2020.
Where is Mateo?
I don't know. Actually, I'm probably gonna WhatsApp him later on.
Yeah, I mean, you remember the joke? Oh, is Mateo
Oh, Matteo,
here?
he's here.
Yeah, Mateo is here.
Yeah. That was a freaking other wet race we had to do in it. A bloody what race?
Yeah, it was Suzuka last year.
Yeah, that one was fun.
I wonder who won.
Yeah, some Spanish guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But returning to my question roll to you, Sandeep. The thing is, this race, it was really hectic in the very initial laps. How was it, the very initial laps going through the field, all these overtakes you had to do, and the chaos that there was when Remco and Hurdle crashed?
Well, after quali it was drying up, so it just went back to my dry setup basically, and I just made the most of that and just went to the front, and then I would say the first half of the race was pretty much mine, and then the rain picked up, and I just did not have an answer anyway to Jan. He would have passed me regardless. I just wasn't going to keep him behind.
Did you have much P2P left?
I had about 70 seconds.
Yeah, I had a lot.
Yeah, I had a lot. Because I had straight line speed anyway. I can overtake people without it. So. But yeah, I mean, he would have passed me anyway because I think he was actually one of the quicker guys on the straights, other than me, of course. But yeah. So like I said, first half of the race was mine. Second half, yeah, as soon as the rain picked up, I just lost the rear grip basically. That's probably because of the rear wing. I had the dry one, and everyone else was using the mid to high. So, but I don't regret it. I had fun though. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Congratulations, Sandeep, not for just this race, not for just this season, for overall all your achievements that you have done. In Superlights, we already know that you are promoting next year to Super League with Alex Lehoux, and I think it will be a very important season for both of you guys. And we, from myself and the broadcast team, we congratulate you and Road to Formula for such an achievements.
Oh, I forgot to freaking say congrats to Jan for the win. That's his first win, no?
Yeah, it is.
It
Well,
is,
it
yeah.
is
Oh,
his
well,
first win
well,
in Superlights.
yeah, well done to him. I mean, to be fair, he came back on 15th to do that. But yeah, thank you for that. I mean, looking forward to seeing some people next week. I'll go get another trophy, take home. So yeah,
What are
thank
you
you for
looking forward the most to see next week?
Boss.
No.
I need to probably going to give probably Carlos.
No.
No bias. No bias. Ross, you might join us again for a KFC run or something.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that is true, yeah. It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Gotta be done,
GPVWC, their
yeah.
traditions and all
Give
that.
you some karting tips, Sandeep, so you can get P2 again.
Yeah. Wait, I need to check when I'm landing again. I think I'm landing at 11 a.m. Friday.
Yeah, I'm landing more or less same. Well, Sandeep, we move Jan Sikora here to do the interview. Thank you so much for all the content you gave us in the interviews with the Indian teams and everything.
You should get me to interview Jan. You'll never see it coming.
Oh wait, okay, we can do that. We can do
No,
that.
yeah, it's the last
Yeah,
race of the
yes,
season.
yes,
Let's have some
yes.
fun. Go on, let's do it.
Hello, Jan.
Jan Sikora, P3 today in the race. How did it go for you, mate?
Hi guys, good evening. Yeah, I'm really happy with P3. I was waiting for this for a long time, and this season was really unlucky for us. We were a lack of pace. We were really weak in qualies, or in qualify. So even we had not every time, but usually we had good race pace, but we couldn't show it on the track because we were in traffic. And yeah, even today I was starting on P11, but I knew that my race setup is really good. I was confident in the car, and that was just pure chaos, some crashes, different strategies, and I'm really glad that today we could get that podium after so long time.
Did
That
you think?
is- Oh yeah. Go, Sandeep.
Did you think at the end you were going to catch Sandeep Singh, or were you thinking, nah, not possible?
uh, yeah, I was thinking about it for sure. That I saw that you dropped, and I was like, I don't know, 5/10 per lap faster. But yeah, you were too far ahead of me, and I was also looking behind me because Dominic Rochevin did a great race, but he did 2 pit stopper, I believe, and
Yeah.
he was really fast in the end. But then our pace was stable, so I was just looking at it, just stay on track, don't make mistake. If you get Sandeep or not, it's not win, it's podium. Just take it. So yeah, I was aiming for it, but not in a world of crash.
Well, Jan, you did an amazing race today. As you mentioned, it was a season where you were trying to fight for these positions, and I'm very sure that all the things you learned this season, you will be able to apply it to wherever team you are heading, or if you're staying in TTF for the next season, and it will be an even greater season, the 2025. So we congratulate you from the broadcast team, and we wish you the absolute very best for the coming season. And if you have any announcement to do towards next season, or it's a team you're racing or anything, this is your moment if you want to do it.
Not yet. Not yet. I think I will be really happy to continue with TTF. But we need to talk about it yet. But I would take this opportunity to thank whole TTF team, Tyrone, Davide for the season, guys for testing and taking points for our R&D, and also all guys that was working hard throughout the season, working on the car, helping, giving some hints and tips to me. So thank you, and thank you guys in GPVWC for making this possible. I really enjoyed the season, and I can't wait for the next one.
Thank you, Jan, and enjoy the off season.
Yeah, I'm going to rest my ankle now.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
a
do
crazy
that.
track. Yeah,
Okay.
take
Yeah,
care,
do
Jan.
that.
Thank you, and have a good evening, guys.
Good evening. I have a crazy proposal for you, Ross, for the last interview.
What's that?
He's not in the wait here for interview room, but I can drag him here because he was a chicken today. I can drag Menoclon here out of surprise.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It'll be funny.
Hello, Menoclon. You are here live stream right now. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yes.
Yes. We have a very important question that you need to answer the people in front of that are watching right now the stream. Why did you chicken out from racing today for Road to Formula? Can you explain us this?
Well, yeah. Why? Because I was not feeling great, so that's why I chickened out. So yeah.
I didn't know. I'm very sorry, Menno.
Yeah. So, but I watched the race, and I think the one that did race had a amazing race, and I think it was very good to see. So I'm very happy.
Yeah,
that he
I'm
did
very
well.
happy as well.
Yeah.
Very happy as well, and thank you, Menno, for having the good humor and the good the way to taking this kind of a last race joke. And thank you. We will see you in GPVWC Day. Hopefully, we can record some dances from Menno. Well, I know they are epic dances. Just watch it.
Yeah, we'll be there. The dances, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Take care, Menno, and get good rest.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I drag you up again. Okay.
Oh. Well, that's one way to end this season. I mean, yeah, Menoclon, fair play. Wasn't to be tonight for him, but it was worth a go anyway. And I mean, Carlos Martin, that's all we've got time for in 2024. That's it. It's over. It's done.
Is it? Wow. Well, we still have Race of Champions.
We do, and of course we've got GPVWC Day next week as well over in Warsaw. So if you've not booked your flights yet, like I maybe haven't, maybe go and book those as soon as possible. But yeah, I mean, a huge thank you once again to everybody from those racing, those organising, those watching. It has been an absolute pleasure. Of course, a huge thank you once again to Fabian Jungbluth for being fantastic on the cameras all season long. A big thank you to you as well, Carlos, for being alongside me all year. It's been a proper pleasure. I'm very much looking forward to being roommates next week.
Yeah, well, it's very easy to commentate with you. You're really goated. I just do my nerd stats, which I love. And you allow me very well to do those because you bring the emotion, you bring the passion to the stream, and I bring the nerd stats. And I think it was impossible for me to have a better commentator next to me. So thank you, Rose, and thank you, Fabian, for all the work with the cameras being so on spot, because we sometimes miss the things because Rose is in the heat of the moment, and maybe me is just looking, oh, how is this doing with the tires, or how are they the pit lane gap is open, is it not? So Fabian is taking care of both of us, and big thank you for him for being constantly here the whole season. And I think that's time to wrap it up for Superlights. Don't forget, there is the last round of Super League on Thursday at the very same time as we did today. We are expecting very similar weather for Thursday, and therefore a very exciting race as well.
Of course, maybe there'll even be a Carlos Martin win.
No.
Well, we can wait and see. Again, a big thank you for tuning in all across 2024. That does conclude our year here in, of course, what is the best league in GPVWC. And that's not my opinion. That is absolute fact. Again, as Carlos said, in 2 days' time, the final round proper of GPVWC in 2024, the Superlights final round here in Sao Paulo. We've got Race of Champions coming up in a few weeks as well. And of course, there is GPVWC Day next weekend. But from me, from Carlos, from Fabian, from everyone here in Superlights, in 2024, it is goodbye. We'll see you next year.
Bye.